Welcome to Write Your Book in a Flash with Dan Janal, the only podcast where you'll learn how successful people just like you have grown their businesses, expanded their influence, and made more money by writing a book. On each episode, you'll learn the inside secrets to help you create a book that can serve as a powerful marketing tool to skyrocket your business. I'm your host, Dan Janal. I help thought leaders, business executives, and entrepreneurs write their books. To find out more, go to writeyourbookinaflash.com. If you've written a book, you've probably thought about publishing on Amazon. Who hasn't? And KDP makes it so easy for people. KDP stands for Kindle Direct Publishing, which is Amazon's arm. And they will do everything from copy editing to laying out your book to doing a cover, all for a fairly reasonable price. But is that the best way to go? Is that the best way you can sell your books? Is that the best way to build your brand? I don't know. Let's find out the differences of what KDP can do for you and what KDP doesn't do quite as well as you might think it does. Hi, I'm Dan Janal. I'm a book coach, ghostwriter, and developmental editor. And no matter where you are in the publishing process, I can help you write your book. Our guest today is Karen McNally Upson, who works for Girl Friday Productions, which is a very interesting company that does things a bit differently than KDP and can show you what KDP does well, what they could do better, and why you might be better off working with an independent publishing company to create your book to really present your brand and your story in the best possible light. Welcome, Karen.
Thank you, Dan. It's so great to be here.
Thanks. So let's talk about KDP. I've had a lot of clients who love KDP. They do a lot of things for you, and they are really inexpensive. So what do they do right, and what don't they do so well that an inexperienced person wouldn't know about? I mean,
yeah. So KDP, as you mentioned early in the intro, is the a book production arm of Amazon. And Amazon, as we know, is the world's largest bookstore. They are an incredible force when it comes to offering their customers books and availability. And we all love that 2-day shipping on products and books, right? So they do an incredible job. And KDP, at the heart of what they're doing, is they're offering a conduit to publishing a book in print and ebook form, and even audiobook form too, in their store. Now, they are, in a lot of ways, KDP is trying to offer all the full solution for all of the authors that come their way. And it is, in a lot of ways, for some folks, it's a good solution, but is it the best solution? And when you're looking at what you're trying to do as an independent author, you're trying to produce the highest quality book possible. You want that book to stand up on the shelf next to a traditionally published book and appear and be the highest quality. And so in order to get that, you really want to make sure that you're investing in high quality services. Now, Amazon is offering services that might help you with some grammar and punctuation, might help you with very basics of layout, but is it going to produce the highest quality book? Not so much. So this is where companies like myself, and even the services that you provide, Dan, on the front end, this is where we come in to really help the authors produce the highest quality book from the very beginning. Your book coaching and developmental editing helps ensure that the authors are providing value to their reader, that they're keeping their promise to their reader about what they're going to deliver in that book and what's going to make that book different from all the other books that are out there. And where our services come in are in the professional services to help polish the text beyond what you can get on some of these platforms like KDP from a very basic level. So we apply publishing industry best standards for best practices for ensuring a highly polished book and that it will print beautifully and look good on all e-reading devices, not just the Kindle. So this goes back to some of the limitations that KDP has. They're a conduit to the Amazon store. That's great. They are not a great conduit to all of the other bookstores, online bookstores that are selling books. There is an expanded distribution option on Amazon KDP, but it's a buyer beware situation. You're going to get a lower royalty, and your book might not be carried in all the online bookstores where books are sold. So we recommend a multi-platform strategy. So yes, KDP, and use other platforms to ensure that your book is available on Apple Books. It's on barnesandnoble.com, books.org, all of the places where people choose to buy their books.
Great. I've picked up some self-published books from Amazon, and I open them up and I can tell immediately that this is a self-published book. There's something about it that just doesn't look right. The spacing, the margins, I won't use the technical terms for those, but it just doesn't look right. It's like looking at a museum print where the colors are just off by 2 or 3 degrees and the hues of colors are just not there, and say, this is fake, this isn't real. And I think that's a problem that people have when they look at some of these self-publishing options where they don't use traditional publishing standards. People in the industry know that it's wrong. And I think even laymen can pick up a book and feel that there's just something not right about this, and that can affect your brand. So talk to me a little bit more about what you mean by professional industry standards, and tell me a little bit more about the staff that you have, because I know that many of them come from traditional publishing industry, which, why would someone leave traditional publishing and start their own business? Because traditional publishing doesn't pay well.
Well, and I'll tell you, traditional publishing is not doing their own work in-house anymore.
Oh, that's a secret.
And it's been that way for quite some time. We've been in business for 17 years, and we started our business doing production and editorial services for traditional publishing companies, and we still do. So we serve traditional publishing houses and we serve independent authors. So our team, the majority of our team is coming from traditional publishing because we know that we can do a better job for authors and we love helping them achieve their goals. So first and foremost, an author wants to make sure that they are getting high quality editorial services. Every editor who works on a book that comes through Girl Friday has deep roots in that genre, has years of experience. And as you know, the book production process does not end after the developmental edit. The developmental edit is making sure that the content on the page is delivering on the promise. It does not ensure that all of the text is polished. So we have a team of no fewer than 3 editors, individual editors who specialize, who are going to look at the text and make sure that it's polished from a grammar standpoint, from a clarity standpoint. We want to make sure that there's no repetition. And then we want to polish. All of the spelling has to be correct, punctuation, and even style. Like, what kinds of words are you using that maybe might be too jargony for your audience? So if you're hoping to appeal to a wide audience, we want to help make sure that you're using terms that are going to work for that audience. So this is where our team comes in to help you really polish your book. Then it's about designing the book itself, making sure that the text is presented in a way that is going to make a very engaging reading experience. Do you have headings, subheadings, bulleted lists? Do you have graphics? Do you have images? All of that has to be presented in a cohesive way. It has to look beautiful on the page, whether that's the e-reading page or whether that is the printed page. So that's where our team of professionals comes in, to make sure that all of those aspects and elements of your book are supporting your goal for your reader.
Great differentiating points. I'm guessing that people who are listening to this are saying, is it worth the extra investment? Should I go cheap? Is good enough? Tell us what happens goes through the reader's mind when they see a book that is just not as polished as it could be? Do they really know the difference anymore because people have such short attention spans? Why is it important to really level up?
Yeah, well, it's important because if you create a speed bump for your reader that is either visual or an error or just the quality of the book itself, you are interfering with their experience. You are diminishing your brand as a thought leader or as a subject matter expert. So if you want to be an expert in your field and you want to present yourself as such, you need to make sure that you're delivering your message in a way that doesn't interfere. You know, we do on average 70 plus books a year.
Mm-hmm.
And this year last year we did a little over 100. So on average, that's the volume that we're doing. And the books that we produce, especially for our independent authors, they win awards. They are highly reviewed. So one of the buyer beware elements of what an author should be looking for is, if a book is being produced by a company, look at the reviews that the books that they've produced get. That is a great litmus test for knowing if you're going with the right firm, if you're getting help. So those books that are produced through KDP with just the cookie cutter editorial and a lot of bots use it for spelling correction and that sort of thing, they don't produce award winners, and those books are not highly reviewed. So that's one of the best litmus tests for authors.
Great point. I just got off my mastermind call. I run a mastermind call for book coaches and developmental editors and ghostwriters. And one of the people on the call was talking about a prospect that she was working with. And the prospect said, how can I be sure that you're actually going to be writing the book and you're not using AI to write my book? And I just fell off my chair because people are smart. People know that AI is out there. People know that you can use AI to write a book or portions of a book or blog posts or marketing materials. And they're rightly concerned about, is a bot going to be writing or editing my book? And we know with Girl Friday Productions, you're getting real people who've worked at real New York publishing houses and have been held up to the highest standards in the industry. So very good to know, because consumers are becoming very aware of how companies can cut corners.
Absolutely.
In the process.
Yeah. And, there's some great tools out there that a lot of people use on a daily basis. Grammarly is one of them, right?
Yeah.
Grammarly is not going to catch all of the issues that are in your writing. And so having a professional who's got fresh eyes looking at the text and trying to make sure not only is it grammatically sound, but does it make sense? Is it the paragraph that you intend? That's super important. An interesting fact about the copy editors that work for Girl Friday: when we have people apply and want to be part of our team, only 40% can pass our test.
Wow.
And these are people who have been working in the industry for years. I mean, we won't even ask people to take a test unless they've got years of experience and can show us a body of work. And even then, only 40% of the editors that want to join are able to pass our copy edit test. So that tells you the standards that we're applying.
Definitely. I love Grammarly. Grammarly has saved my butt many, many, many times, but sometimes they introduce some possible errors as well. I tell all my clients to use Grammarly anyway and accept what they think is correct, because if you clean up the easy stuff, then when it goes to a copy editor, they don't have to waste their time with the Mickey Mouse corrections that you could have easily corrected, because everyone burns out at a certain point. And if Grammarly can get rid of, 80% of the easy things, then the highly paid copy editors and the highly skilled copy editors can really focus on the real problems to make your material shine.
Right. And every single one of those corrections that you make, they might be right, but they might be introducing another problem. Right? So this is
Grammarly
why,
does they do love their commas. I will give you that.
yes, right. And commas, it's not a comma use is not an entirely black and white rule, right? There's some subjectivity with it. So it's always great to use professional services so you can know where the hard lines are and where you have some room for author voice.
Excellent point. Thank you. What other tips do you have as we start to wrap up this conversation? What should authors look for, or what other golden nuggets do you have for people to consider?
Yeah, I would say that it's important for the age-old wisdom of be careful, you get what you pay for. And knowing that high-quality books require editorial experience, a lot of fresh eyes, and really good positioning to ensure that your book will reach its audience, you need to make sure that you're investing properly. You're going to put your heart and soul into this book and hopefully create something that will appeal to your audience. But if you get in your own way because you don't invest in good services and expertise to help you ensure a high quality book, then you're undermining your effort. So first and foremost, buyer beware. Second, I would make sure that you are thinking backwards from the idea of ensuring your book is available wherever your reader chooses to buy their book. So that's going to mean a multi-platform endeavor to make that happen. Don't put all of your eggs in the KDP basket. It's definitely an effective platform, and knowing the ins and outs of that platform, as well as all the others that are available to you, is really going to be key. So this is where our company and companies like ours come into play to help the reader. We want our authors to focus on what they do best, that's running their business. And if we can help them produce a valuable asset that helps them do that, then relying on us or another firm to help them do that is a really smart choice in terms of your investment dollars for making sure that your book is going to work for you.
Great. So tell us, who is your ideal client and how can they get in touch with you?
Oh, that's great. So our website is girlfridayproductions.com. So that's the best place to start in terms of reaching out to us. We've got a contact form on there. My email is Karen@girlfridayproductions.com. You can reach out to me too. And then in terms of our ideal client is one where we can help them achieve their goals. One of the first things we talk about when we're talking about when I'm talking to an author is, what are you hoping to achieve? What does success look like for your book? And if it's something where we can help them achieve that, then they're a great fit for us. If it's something where we know we can't help them achieve it, and then I will recommend that they find another option.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today and sharing those pearls of wisdom about how to up-level your book. And thanks everyone for listening. We have more than 175 other videos here on how to write your book in a flash and market your book and produce your book. So check out Girl Friday Productions and find out how you can up-level your book, and check out these other videos on how you can write your book in a flash. Thanks for being with us today. Thank you for listening to the Write Your Book in a Flash podcast with Dan Janal, the only podcast that shows you exactly how people just like you have built their businesses by writing a book. If you'd like to write your book but don't know where to start, you can find great information at writeyourbookinaflash.com. If you're ready to take your next step to write the book that can transform your business, I invite you to schedule a free, no-obligation consulting call with me by going to writeyourbookinaflash.com. We'll be back next week with another insightful interview to help you become a top business leader.